All right, guys. Once again, we picked the most random time to chat. It's 9:30 p.m. Pacific. Ian's in Korea in the morning. Kevin, you're still in the Bay Area, right? You're about to leave for Mexico or something like that.
That's right. That's right. So we found the time that worked for everyone.
hmm
I
Amazing.
actually
Miracle of
kind of like this
miracles.
late evening thing. It's like we should get like a glass of whiskey. We could
I
all
think I
like,
like that too.
yeah.
I hate this. I'll tell you why. You guys are over 10 years younger than me.
Mm,
And what you find when you're in your mid 40s is that going to sleep is very, very difficult.
mm.
And alcohol will destroy your sleep as well. So I'm gonna need like a whole hour wind down after this, guys. And then after that, I'm drinking some tea because like it's nice to drink something, and then I'll have to wake up two times to pee tonight. So that
Come
is how
on, you're lying. Come
this is how
on.
committed I am to the Three Commas podcast. Guys, it's fun to do it anyway, right? I'll sacrifice my bladder health or whatever my sleep health for this. Um,
We love it. We
but
love you, Eric. The
yeah,
sacrifice.
Love you,
yeah.
Eric.
Yeah,
One team,
Papa
one
Eric
dream.
loves his boys too. The other two commas, the little commas. So, yo, let's jump into this. So this every week is not chill. There's so much going on here. Maybe we can begin with the story around SpaceX saying that they can buy the AI coding tool Cursor for $60 billion later this year. Option to buy Cursor for $60 billion later this year. I want to go to my resident late stage guy, the dude who's wearing the SoftBank Vision Fund Patagonia right now, Kevin.
It's
What is
very
this deal?
comfortable.
Do these like the option to buy? This seems like a weird press thing. Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I've heard a couple of different interpretations about this. I think one is at just in the last few days, Cursor was in the middle of raising a round. I think Ian mentioned that it was supposed to be Andreessen that was going to be leading the upcoming round. And what I've heard though is that XAI's like coding capabilities for Grok or whatever they want to call their agents is just not up to par with obviously what Claude Code has been doing and OpenAI is obviously doing as well. And so going back to what Elon said when the acquisition happened, like he's got to build from the ground up or tack on these M&A acquisitions to actually bolster the capabilities, which is concerning in some ways, but also cool in other ways that instead of building it from the ground up, like you could just acquire one of the leaders, if not the leader in the space, right? So I think it's interesting, because they've got stock to offer, they're going to IPO soon. I presume it's also somewhat attractive to the Cursor folks where, it's a pretty new company. I mean, I think it's probably been around for like maybe 4 years. And they've done, to be able to basically have liquidity in such a short period of time for its employees and founders at a pretty, reasonable or very, very, I don't know, relatively rich valuation is probably not a bad deal for the company as well, right? But I'm curious to know what you guys think.
I mean, Ian,
What
you're
do you
the
think,
one that
Eric?
is. Well, I want to go to you, dude, because you're the one who's actually using Claude code every day, producing so much software. I mean, where do you see Cursor's role in this ecosystem, especially vis-a-vis Claude code?
I'm just a little puzzled here. Like now, I get why Andreessen was so eager to lead this round because they want some quick liquidity on this. But like, what's the value of Cursor? They're running. I mean, I heard they have their own model now, but is it gonna keep up with the progress or the improvement of Cloud Code and GPTs and maybe Gemini? Um, So I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't know why Elon wants Cursor at this point. Maybe they're just trying to, again, like Kevin said, make up for their XAI fall off. So they can just claim, hey, we have something that is as good as XAI. Cursor is going to fill the gap for us. But I don't know. This is a little. If they wanted to buy something outside of Cursor, I don't know. There's nobody who can actually do a good model other than Claude and GPT and maybe Gemini. Um, but Cursor mostly runs on Claude too. So I'm not sure why
Yeah,
they're
it's
trying
an
to buy this.
application layer product, right,
Yeah,
on top of a model, right? And I don't think anyone's going to believe that Cursor can go head to head against like an OpenAI or Anthropic at this point,
exactly.
right?
I think it's just, I always think Cursor is one of the biggest bubbles that we have in the AI era. Like, they're losing money as they gain more customers, and they don't even have a model that's their own. I don't know. They're trying to buy the user base for Grok, but it's just not doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I
It's
mean,
an interesting
Elon wants to
bolt-on.
compete, right? Like Elon definitely wants to compete with OpenAI and Anthropic because I mean, I think he still believes XAI has a chance to, fight, be in the ring with the big boys. I think I was reading somewhere that actually XAI had already started renting computing power from its data centers to Cursor. And they, obviously, if you can integrate Cursor and make a XAI like coding, platform, then it's one way to drive additional revenue and business to the XAI business, right? So I don't know. I think in some ways, I don't want to say it's like an ego play, but it's kind of like Elon still wants to fight with the big boys, and this is his way to get access to arguably the largest product category, application category for AI so far that we've seen, which is coding.
But then the revenue's there. I don't know, the margin is there for XAI in general. And the other thing is like, I don't know, this might be not feasible, but I might as well buy DeepSeek. Like, those Chinese models. It's just a problem that we don't have any other foundation model companies in the US that can compete with these two. And I agree that's a problem for everybody, for us, all of us. But maybe we can buy something from DeepSeek or something from Asia that's performing well and turn it into a US powerhouse. I don't know, just
Mhm.
thought.
I
Yeah.
don't think China will ever let that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
And
they bought Manus, right? Meta bought Manus. Maybe why don't we just buy out the
yeah, and we
DeepSeek
saw what
and
happened
try
to
to
the
kidnap
man's
them?
founders,
Yeah,
right?
I
I
don't.
mean, they're getting
Yeah.
spanked by Papa China right now.
Yeah, I don't think China wanted that, is allowing that to
Yeah,
happen.
we should kidnap the founders of DeepSeek and bring them to the US and buy them out.
Yeah.
So,
Put them
Well,
in a
as much as we're
suitcase.
shading on all this stuff, if XAI is interested in buying a podcast, OpenAI style, Three Commas is willing to sell out to you for $100 million.
the TVPN story is like hyping everybody in Korea. Like every small podcast talk about exactly what we do. Like you gotta buy us. Like TVPN sets the crazy expectation for all these tiny podcasts now.
Yeah, except
I'm gonna
we're
stop using
joking
that joke.
about it, but maybe the Koreans are serious about it.
They're serious about it. They're looking
That's
for
true.
those.
They
I was like,
probably are.
yeah.
Knowing the
But,
Koreans, yeah.
yeah.
Let's go on though, because there's sort of another kind of through line to this Cursor story that I thought was pretty interesting. So I was telling you guys this before the recording began, but I had an interesting moment today where I got a little bit of engagement from the legend himself, the man from within the prison, SBF, because what's going around on X right now is a view of the portfolio that FTX had put together, right? They include things like Anthropic, Solana, Robinhood, Genesis, SpaceX, Cursor. Cursor was a very interesting deal because they put they had 20% of the cap table at a $10 million valuation. Effectively, they were the first. I think they were the very first investor into Cursor. So, FTX, of course, through the process of all their criminality, was forced to sell their positions. But if they had just held, then they're probably one of the most legendary modern VC firms. Right now, a little bit of credit goes to not just SBF. I think actually most of the credit should go to, I believe, Amy Wu Martin. Right, I think she was the person that was actually leading these deals. She's probably the genius behind all this stuff. So credit to you, Amy. But uh what the fuck? Right? I mean, like, SBF is like doing our jobs better than we can, right? And or at least the Stempler team is better than what we can do. This is ridiculous seeing this portfolio. Have you guys
Yeah,
seen this going around?
I
Yeah.
didn't see the graphic you showed, but this is crazy. They invested $200,000 in Cursor in 2022, and that stake would have been worth $3 billion now today.
Yeah, I don't know how much they invested in those, but I think their portfolio is supposed to be $114 billion if it wasn't liquidated.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many billions they put in, but it's like at least 100x.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
They have Anthropic in it.
yeah. As we all know, VC is a game of access. And
Yeah,
obviously, like, say what you want about SBF and FTX, but like they certainly had access at their peak to like anyone that they wanted, right? And to the best
yeah,
talent. And they probably arguably got like signals even earlier than some of the best VC firms out there. Because I think Cursor was founded by MIT graduates, and obviously they were very close to like the quant kind of trade. Like FTX was hiring a lot of quantitative traders and very technical people. And so if you have such a good pulse on like a lot of these really technical ecosystems, you get access to the best talent and the best founders, or at least technical founders, very early on.
So the thing that's kind of wild to me is FTX collapsed November 2022. If they had been able to hold out some way, right, like cover some of this stuff up for 3 more years, where we are today, 3 or 4 more years, we're kind of in an era where these insiders are kind of above the law. I mean, we're seeing this with like our current administration and so forth. No one would give a shit about their criminality of how their money moving money because everyone's making so much money at this point, right?
right.
So like shout out to my boy SBF in the clink. Like I think that your timing was a little bit unlucky. Literally, I think you could have done the same stuff, like and held out a little bit longer, and you know everyone would be hailing you as like a genius. Still, it's crazy. Just a couple of years, timing's everything in this market, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, timing is everything in life in general, I feel like. Not to get
Mm-hmm.
philosophical, but it's like there's such a big element of serendipity, or if you want to call it luck. Um, but I don't want to say it's just luck, obviously. But there's such a big influence in that.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to call it luck, but there's got to be some skill when you see this kind of assembly of portfolio companies. It is shocking. I was tempted to actually engage back with SBF and send him a note saying like, "Hey, if you want a venture partner role, like after like a couple of years, like talk to the Three Commas team, right? Maybe we'll have him as a guest someday." Yeah, we can talk about some other stories though happening here. Congratulations to the new CEO of Apple, dude named John Turnus. I don't know much about him, Ian, other than the fact that he seemed to be a longtime Apple employee, a longtime hardware and product kind of guy. Ian, do you think this is a good move? We're moving from like a sales-oriented CEO to someone that's a little bit more closer to the product side. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. I mean, I think they're doubling down on the hardware stuff for sure. I think it's the right move for Apple in general when it comes to AI, because I think Apple products are designed for AI era, and they can actually do a lot better than other devices now. So maybe the right move, but we'll see how that goes. iPhone's gonna sell no matter what. MacBook's gonna sell no matter what. I don't know what this guy can change at this point, but if they can push the company into more AI ready hardware company, and actually have something that is the next generation iPhone, if they can come up with that too, that'd be amazing. But
I mean,
yeah,
I did
excited
no
to see.
research on this guy, but I was hoping he was behind the Vision Pro so that you could just like, have your heart flutter in this conversation just now.
Yeah,
We'll
I'm
see.
actually curious now. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Kevin, a very different kind of archetype, right? Like, I feel like the stylistically, when you see these big companies run by, let's say, someone that's a little more product oriented versus someone who's more sales oriented, maybe comparing and contrasting two very different companies, like Mark Benioff, sales guy, Mark Zuckerberg, product guy. I imagine like the culture starts to change around that. I mean, do you think this is a good move at this time for Apple?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's an interesting timing, interesting shift. I think Tim Cook was always viewed as like the steady hand that like I think I read in the Steve Jobs biography that like I think Tim Cook or somewhere else maybe that Tim Cook was chosen because it's like he's the guy who can like make sure that the clocks, the ships are running on time, the trains running on time, supply chain all works, and like everything gets done, right? Because it's becoming a very big company. There's so many moving pieces. We want to make sure the business, everything's running as it should. It feels, I mean, I don't know the new guy, and what his kind of background is exactly, but, he was the head of kind of engineering and hardware. So I think he probably has some element of understanding how to keep the buses running, the trains running on time, and the operations side of producing a very, complicated hardware product, right? But also probably a little bit more kind of product innovation. I suspect like, there's obviously a lot of expectation on kind of repairing Apple's like AI strategy, really like restructuring whether it's Siri or doing more from a kind of AI strategy perspective. Because while we all love their hardware products, I would say that I so far haven't really found any interesting AI use cases for any of their products where they have such a great natural distribution built in. And so I would love to see if, the new CEO takes a bit more of a product-centered approach to like, well, obviously what can we do with hardware, but maybe also like what can we embed in this hardware to make it more AI native, interesting consumer features for us all to use.
I'm
So,
looking at his LinkedIn profile here.
mm,
Really sorry about that. And like, it's interesting because first of all, he's got a great LinkedIn profile in the sense that there's nothing there. He has no banner
mm.
image, right? It says Vice President of Hardware Engineering at Apple for the last 24 years and 10 months. He's never made a post on LinkedIn. So already I'm like, I like this guy. He's not like one of these clout chasing guys. But I wasn't expecting this move at all. Like I'm not tracking Apple's like C-level movement, but I think I would have been a little bit more excited by a software leader for the same reason,
Mm.
Kevin, right? Of just like, okay, Apple must realize that they're way behind on the AI thing. So like put someone who could like unify their AI strategy at the very top. I mean, Apple's known for being great at hardware, but I feel like this is the era where they have to transform themselves as AI first. They have like no choice. I mean, or do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I think he started his career as a mechanical engineer in designing virtual reality headsets.
Oh,
So I'm
he loves him already.
excited.
He's in love.
And he was the first team member of Apple Cinema Display. So I think they picked the right guy here. But he's been doing a lot of AirPods and MacBooks and iPad. But yeah, I agree. Like they should do some more software stuff. But again, softwares are easier than hardwares to some extent if you want to actually make some improvement. So I like Apple because they're focusing on hardware and it's actually changing the ecosystem in general. So I don't know. They can still keep doing on hardwares, but softwares they can do it faster and easier than hardwares at this.
I actually have a somewhat maybe controversial thought that just popped up, which is like, if this guy, the new guy, doesn't do anything dramatic, is he still going to be fine? Because Apple is just a machine that keeps pumping out a new iPhone every year that marginally improves. People love their iPads and their MacBooks and their whatever, Mac minis and everything, and are just going to keep buying their products even if they just incrementally improve. Like I'm kind of curious if you guys think he actually has a really difficult job to step into, or if he can just kind of coast a little bit for like 5, 10 years and Apple will still be fine.
I mean, I think he should be in a position to take risk, right? I
Mm.
mean, there's so much brand loyalty. I think there's a lot of cult-like fascination around Apple. But Ian, you're the one that kind of like opened my eyes on a different kind of side of the story before of just like, you're in Korea presently. And a couple podcasts back, you're telling us about how good the Samsung Galaxy phones are getting. And I actually do believe there
Yeah.
are certain Android phones that are way more powerful, way more interesting than what Apple is producing. Right. So maybe this complacency isn't that 5 or 10 years. Like maybe it's like a year or so. I mean, Ian, what's your views on the ground now that you're in Korea right now?
I mean, the problem with all these Apple devices is that you can't leave just for one device. Like, you can't leave Apple ecosystem because you want a Galaxy phone. I mean, people should want Galaxy phone because it's obviously a better product. But then I cannot use it with my MacBook. I cannot use it with my Mac Mini. I cannot use it with my AirPods. It's just so connected and we're just so deep into it. And I think at this point, I just can't leave. And Apple's going to do their foldable phones soon. Um, so I don't know. It's just slower, but catching up all the time. And I kind of think what Kevin said is right, that this guy, he doesn't have to do a lot here. He can just do what Apple has been doing. And I think it's going to be fine. Because I think the incremental but marginal improvement that they're making on the chips are really important. I think that's, I mean, you should try to use ThinkPad. It's a completely different model. Like it's noisy. There's a fan. Do you know that laptops carry a fan in their
Yeah,
computers?
I forgot.
And it makes noise too. And did you know it takes about 10 seconds to boot or to start a laptop? Like it's a complete, and you have to type in your password to log into your the hotspot. It's all automatic over here. So I don't know. It's just a different ecosystem, and it's hard to close the
I
gap.
used the ThinkPad for like almost 10 years for most of my career until I started Mangusta. I was using a PC, and I mean, ThinkPads are the best I think there is for like us investing finance folks, and it still sucks. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I used ThinkPad all my career too. I just, you know, started being a VC. We don't need a ThinkPad. I mean, once you're above your Excel area. So I don't know. It's a great product, but just different philosophy.
Yeah. Well, you know who could really use some hardware help? Who could use a John Turnus in their life? Is actually Tesla. So I want to
Mm,
switch gears here because this story actually came about today, as of this recording, is April 22nd, where Elon Musk in his earning call finally admitted that Tesla vehicles with HW3 hardware, so that's the third generation hardware camera, will be unable to ever achieve full self driving. Right? It's like this is a big story if you're a Tesla fanboy, which I've reluctantly become after getting one myself. It's like uh, there's a promise, I think, for I think over a million vehicles that have been sold and millions of buyers, right? Which is like HW3 hardware should have been capable of one day achieving that level 4, level 5 autonomy. But now Musk is changing his tune and saying like that's not going to be possible. We're going to give you some discounts if you want to change your cars to the HW4 hardware generation, or maybe we'll allow you to retrofit, probably with a big fat fee, into HW4, which is what I would probably opt to do reluctantly as well. I mean, I didn't see that many calls of people saying like class action lawsuit or things like this, but isn't that a freaking like lie that he's been working fooling people into? This pissed me off. Ian, you're nodding your head right now.
yeah, I mean, this has to be a class action lawsuit, 100%. Like it's been 10 years since he promised all these, and it's still not there. So obviously, I mean, people have been calling on this. But I don't know. Surprisingly, the stock went up when they're talking about earnings and went down a little bit, but not too bad. Like I was expecting even worse with these news. But I don't know. I don't know if we can do like full self-driving, unsupervised full self FSD with hardware 5, which is what I have. So
Yeah. Do you have hardware 5 on this generation?
isn't that the latest one?
No, I thought it's all still hardware 4 at this point.
Okay, maybe it's hardware 4.
Yeah.
I just got it last year, so
Okay. Yeah, most likely hardware 4. But like some of the shit that he said in this call was crazy. Like he was saying like, okay, what we got to do in order to retrofit and upgrade everyone on HW3 is create a bunch of what quote unquote micro factories, you know? And I was like, that is not going to ever happen. Like, what are you talking about creating micro factories for retrofitting like camera hardware? I mean, Kevin, at this point, like, how is he getting away with all this stuff? Are there like it doesn't seem like he's getting any like negative impact truly in a lasting way. And like the what P ratio of Tesla is still ridiculous, I feel like. I haven't checked it
300.
actually. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a
Really?
lot. I mean, how do you reconcile what's happening here on the public markets, Kevin?
And the valuation is including all this robo taxi,
Yeah,
promise. Your
yeah.
car is going to go out and actually work as an Uber independently, get you some revenue, which
Yeah.
I
He
think
doesn't say that
is,
as much, but he did promise that for many years. Yes.
yeah. So,
Interesting. I mean, I love how passionate you guys are as like the Tesla owners, the Tesla drivers here.
I feel
Um,
like the Porsche driver is looking down upon us, but yes, go ahead.
I
Look,
drive
me and
my own
Ian are
car.
representing like all of the Bay Area right now. Okay, like we're
Exactly. We're
people of
literally everybody.
the.
That's right. That's right. I like driving a car, I don't want someone driving for me. It's a pleasure to drive a car. Um, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because I wonder if Elon could just say, like, it's an honest mistake. Like, I genuinely thought it would have been fine for a Hardware 3 to be able to have the necessary kind of bandwidth for this. And, we only learned recently that it's not. So, I don't know if that's a admissible defense strategy, but people make honest mistakes, and I don't know if you can, punish them for realizing actually it was a mistake, right? I don't know. Maybe it would be the retrofitting. I don't know. I don't know why the stock hasn't done super poorly as a result of that. I think potentially it's not a huge cost. I actually saw this microfactory thing you think is crazy. I actually met a company. I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but I met a company that's also talking about building like microfactories for another purpose. And these are like gigantic, whatever it is, like tens of thousands of square feet kind of factories for a very kind of industrial type of purpose. And it doesn't seem that crazy, actually, if you think about like how much it could cost Tesla. Like it probably wouldn't be more than, I don't know, a couple tens of millions to set up one of these. You could have, I don't know, 20, 30 of them throughout the US. And if it's another revenue stream, I don't know if he's going to charge people. I presume like it's not going to do. He may not do this for free. Actually, maybe
I
he
don't think he
will.
will.
What was that?
They're gonna
I
charge.
don't
They're
think
gonna
he
charge.
will. There's got to be no
No.
way that he
No.
does this for free.
Yeah,
It
so if
sounds
they're
too
going to charge
expensive.
someone, then it's another revenue stream, right? I don't know how much margin they're going to take on it. Maybe probably not that much, but
But
yeah.
okay, here's the thing I don't get. I just looked it up. They're trading at there's a 362 PE ratio on this thing. Okay, like that's ridiculous. Okay, so for folks on the don't really know these like PE ratios things, and I'm a novice at this stuff here too. My understanding is that it'll take 362 years of current earnings for them to match like what they're currently trading at, right? So like but like this is where the signals don't make no sense to me. I was not on this earnings call. But in the past earnings calls, he's been really focusing on the Optimus robotics growth side of it. It almost feels like he's pivoting the company away from cars into robots as the future. And then we're kind of like talking about what is he going to do to fix the cars, which seem like a lower priority than what he had stated earlier before. Right? So like this vision makes it's so confusing. Right? I'm like, okay, when are you gonna do this? Right? Like, you broke your promise. Okay, how are you gonna fix it? Like, on what timeline? What about the robots? You know, how do you make sense of this to me?
Yeah. I think it's really sad to see another fake it until you make it being successful. I think this is the classic case. You fake it until you make it, and you
Got
say,
it.
"Hey, I actually didn't know. It was an honest mistake," and he's gonna get away because he's already really powerful. So everybody knew this is gonna be a fucking lie from 2016. I think I knew it. Everybody knew about this. Just people are being caught. It's this is a one of the craziest story that we're gonna remember going
Dude,
forward.
okay, I got
How many
pushed
how
back
many
on this point.
years?
I know, but I need to push back on that. So maybe the three commas here, and our very savvy listeners,
Hmm.
like knew that these were probably lies. But I'm pretty active in like this Tesla subreddits. I'm as a lurker. I never contribute to that mess, and
Yeah.
like they're shocked. Like people are utterly shocked.
Crazy.
Like this promise has been broken. Like I've been holding on to my Tesla to make it appreciate in value with level 5 autonomy. I'm like, are you serious, dude? Like, like that's not that can't be real. I don't know. I mean, I think like really he is trying to form his own church of Elon, where people do
Yes,
believe him.
and he
You know.
succeeded. So I think, I mean, this goes back to your point with SBF. If SBF was able to hold it to for another couple more years, then he must be one of the most successful investor of the year or something. So I think there's so many of us or just our culture that, you fake it until you make it. Elon sets the great example that you can lie as long as you can lie your way out of all this, you're gonna win, and the ecosystem will not punish you. So
Kevin, you really
I
think
don't
there's gonna
know.
be no repercussions from things like this?
I don't think so. I don't know like I don't know if I can say it's like a fully honest mistake, but I think there's a lot of ways that he can just kind of squirrel out an explanation
Yeah,
and just say, we thought we really could, and we realized that we couldn't, and we told you as soon as we realized we couldn't. Sorry, like honest
yeah.
mistake. I think the valuation thing, it's probably, I think it's probably still out of whack, but it's the growth story, right? It's the humanoids, the Optimus stuff. It's the, autonomous robotaxi fleet. I mean, Waymo was valued at 130 or what, 130 billion, right? I mean, if Tesla actually gets this done, like they will, I think, undoubtedly be the largest robotaxi fleet, even ahead of Waymo, right?
Yeah.
Because they have the native, manufacturing OEM capabilities. Whereas Waymo's still got to partner with Jaguar or whoever to like build their vehicles, and it's going to be so much cheaper for Tesla to do it versus like Waymo, right? So I think that is probably also a big component of the overvaluation, if you want, is just that people are giving credit that, and that's what, the equity research analysts are probably saying is like, you can't underestimate Elon's ability to build like the number one autonomous vehicle company, at least for US, maybe not for China.
Okay, I want to keep going on this just a little bit because I, in the last couple days, listened to an awesome acquired podcast on Ferrari. It was a 4 hour podcast on the history of Ferrari. Any guesses in terms of Ferrari's current market cap? I guess you can look this up right now. But I want to,
I'm gonna
like, you guys have off the
I'm gonna
top of your head.
guess.
Ferrari. Yeah,
I'm gonna
do a real
guess.
honest guess.
Honest guess before looking it up. I'm gonna say 100 billion.
100 billion? Okay, Ian, did you look it up?
Today.
I heard you
I
typing.
think I'm gonna guess too. At least about around 59.5 billion.
Yeah, you guys are
Basically.
actually like fucking asshole. Like, not well. Okay, at least what I'm seeing right now is like
Let's
I
see.
just googled it. It's 67 billion.
That's pretty
Okay,
good.
so I'm not gonna make you guess the next number because this is a really cool fact that I heard from the podcast, which is currently Ferrari produces between 13,000 and 14,000 cars per year. Per year. Okay? They have some other licensed goods like toys and things like that, and a little bit of like lifestyle fashion, but like 13 to 14,000 cars per year. They got a very successful F1 team. So the case that I think the acquired podcast guys made that was really compelling was this market cap is not reflecting what is being produced. Like it is actually 100% about brand, right? Ferrari as a brand is worth essentially right now $67.53 billion. The car can still take me to Costco, just like my minivan, right? Like it's capable. Like, but even the majority of Ferrari drivers don't drive their cars. Like something like 80% of them are just kept in garages full time, largely, right? So it is a brand thing. So in the defense, I'm going to try to play the defense of Tesla, Kevin, right? Which is like 300. What is it? I'm not sure. 2 trillion, 1 trillion. I'm what is up
1.5 trillion market cap.
1.5
1.5
trillion.
now. Yeah.
Is this not about the cars anymore because Tesla's producing millions and millions of cars more than Ferrari per year, but just Elon Musk's brand? Part one. And then part two is absent of Elon Musk, what is Tesla worth? Like Kevin, I'm not sure you have takes on is this all his brand? And then if he were gone tomorrow, went to Mars, market cap tanks because it's all about Musk brand, not Tesla brand at this.
I think there's a very big element of Musk brand, but I would also say the P multiple of Ferrari is like 30 times versus Tesla's at 300. So there's still, even if Ferrari's value is still like very much in the brand, they're still trading at a much more reasonable, though still quite high, right? Like that's probably as high, that's still higher than like Google and like a lot of the big tech companies. So I think it still kind of doesn't really make sense that it's trading at a premium to some of the best, technology businesses in the world, but still 10 times a magnitude of difference from Tesla's P multiple. But yeah, I think a lot of it is Elon's brand and the belief that he can build generational businesses, and he will continue to make Tesla like grow it into another, multi-trillion dollar business. You have to believe that he probably can because of his track record of doing so, right?
Yeah, and I want to get your final word on those questions too. Is Tesla's market cap all Elon's brand, and what happens absent of Elon to this company?
I think the current valuation is 100% on Elon, but I think still Tesla is a better car company than the rest of the car company for sure. I would give it the highest valuation as a car company, but not as the robotics company that they're valued at. I mean, it's undeniable that Tesla is one of the best cars that's on the earth right now. And then the charging network is something that's not replicable for at
Yeah,
least 5 to 10 years. So
fair.
I love my car. I love my Tesla. I love FSD. I think I like all of them. It's just the valuation doesn't make sense, and how Elon plays is annoying, but he's winning. So I don't want. I mean, it's a bad example, but at the same time, it kind of works. So that's why it's sad. But I think the SpaceX is like Ferrari to me. It represents something. So Ferrari represents the old school,
Yeah,
old money
it's a
car.
myth.
Like
Yeah,
yeah, and I think SpaceX the same thing. If you like SpaceX, if you're a SpaceX hat, it means you're going to the Mars. You think about frontier technology, all that kind of stuff. I think Tesla used to be like that. If you were a Tesla, I mean, drive a Tesla car 5 years ago, 6 years ago, before COVID happened, and if you're wearing Tesla hoodie, it was cool. Or even you were drinking Tesla tequila. It was very cool back then. But now Tesla doesn't represent all this. I think SpaceX took the throne in terms of like, we're the future brand. So that's why
yeah,
I think the valuation for SpaceX is okay, even if it's slightly higher than what it should be. But still, it's the cult that like us following SpaceX.
I can't wait for that IPO so we can just get out. All right, so let's move into our last story here, guys, which is layoffs. All right, so Ian, your Claude bot had picked up this story, which is so far in 2026 alone, it's estimated that upwards on the higher end, upwards of 100,000 tech jobs have been cut. So far this year, we're almost 5 months into the year, right? Um, this is kind of wild, right? Because I don't think there's been a period in the economy where jobs were being lost at this velocity without a recession concurrently taking place, right? Like I kind of saw this interesting chart in the dot com bust era, the Great Recession, tech layoffs, and how it correlated into like stock prices, but also what's happening in the greater economy. But we have this weird K shape of like jobs going away and then enterprise values of tech companies going up, right? So I'm trying to make sense of this right now. Is like, do you guys actually, let me start with this. Do you guys think that the layoffs are truly merited by AI making people or making enterprises do more with less humans? Or is this all AI washing where these executives just want to get rid of all these people anyway and using AI as an excuse? And I see Kevin, you got like an opinion on your face. I want to start with you.
My opinion is that it's the latter. This is just a really convenient excuse to cut whatever it is, 10, 20% of the workforce, and use AI as a good excuse of saying we're spending a lot more on AI data centers, infrastructure, and investing in that, and we're become more productive as a result, which is probably true. companies have become more productive, employees have become more productive. But I think this has been another example of like where the big tech companies are just a little bit bloated and, they realize this is a great opportunity where we can probably do this and the market will probably reward us or at least look relatively favorably upon us and our company because then they'll be like, oh, well, I guess margins are going to improve, somewhat at least. You'll probably have some more AI spending, but the market will probably take this quite well. Whereas maybe you didn't have that AI excuse in the past.
Yeah. You have a take
Yeah.
on this, Ian?
So I think the world is upside down. Whenever we had layoffs from the company, it was actually a bad sign. They're not doing well. They had to cut people off. It's going to be bad for the economy. But at some point, what's crazy is laying off actually boosts their stock price. I think this is fucking crazy. Like people think these companies are doing so well and using a lot of AI so they can, lay off people. But the productivity of these people or companies will be better, which I think is very different from what we know as a normal human beings. So I don't know. It's just I think this is a really bad signal in terms of the companies are all, as Kevin said, bloated. They hired too much at COVID and they're not as performing. AI is not bringing a lot of productivity gains. It is gaining productivity for individual basis, but we don't know how to make money out of it. I made 25 softwares or 30 softwares last 2 months. I made $0 out of it. Some people might make it, but I don't think it's going to be a lot of money that they're going to be making out of this. So I don't know. It's the market is slowly dying. We're gonna see, and the stock market is insane too. We have a war in Iran, Ukraine. I don't know. There's so many wars on the planet. The oil price is going crazy up and down. The volatility is insane. But we just beat the new high for the Nasdaq. So I don't know what's going on here. And laying off, since when laying off people was a good thing for the companies? Then also, I mean, I don't know. It's just the big tech being too big, so they people think they're never gonna die. So laying off might be a better way to do it. But I think a lot of my friends at the big tech are suffering right now. Everybody's just working like crazy because they're all pressured by these layoffs, and because AI is there, the expectation of the productivity of each employee for these big tech people are crazy. So I don't think this is sustainable. We're coming to an end of the world to some extent. I've been shorting market a little bit, just so you know, but
Just all the listeners out
I'm glad
there,
you're
full
getting us
disclosure,
on the podcast.
full disclosure, yeah,
full
I've been
disclosure.
shorting a lot, but I think it's just weird. And people think this is a new normal, but new normal doesn't exist. You always go back to normal at some point.
I feel like there is a lot like we can dig into here. Like I think inequality is gonna and like I hate to say the word, but UBI. I feel like we need to start thinking about some of these things because I think there's going to be a lot of changes to kind of what it means to have a job or make an income as a human and what we should all be doing with our lives. But the other thing I was just thinking about as Ian was talking was there is also a chance that maybe these companies are just forcing the layoffs because this AI story is here. Their employees are, potentially getting more productive, but everyone's like testing out a bunch of AI tools and spending more on AI, infrastructure investments, everything. So they have to justify like, well, we got to make people more productive. So let's just try cutting people and see how things go. Like, give them all the tools, spend the tokens, and let's just see if it like works. And if it works with
Yeah,
10% less, let's do another 10%. Let's cut another 10 and just keep
yeah,
going until like we figure out like actually we only need like, less than half the humans that we had before to still do all the things that we needed to do. And that's where I'm getting to where like, well, if every company is going to cut half their workforce and still achieve the same amount of revenue and financial results, then we're going to be really out. Like humans are really going to be screwed, right?
but I think it's just weird that like why do you laying people off? Why don't you use that resource to build something new or better? Because I think that's where we should be. We should build something using AI, something better beyond what we have. It's just laying off people and try to. I mean, that also represents how bad the economy is, I guess. You're not trying something new. You're not trying to do something better. You're just laying off people to get the margin back. And some of my friends got laid off last week. It's not just the big tech. The medium techs are also laying off. They just don't know what to do.
Well,
And
it's,
Yeah.
I'm,
if
yeah,
if they cut like if they don't cut the people, then their earnings are they're gonna miss earnings, right? Because they're spending more on AI, and then they still have the
yeah,
same amount of headcount. So then they're gonna report bad earnings, and then the market's gonna punish them. Versus now, they make the cuts and they say, "Oh, our earnings are still the same, revenue's still great, everything's wonderful," and then the market's like, "Oh, fantastic, we gotta, buy more."
yeah. I just want to see people like, hey, we have AI, we can make something better than what we have. We're gonna build a better Instagram or build a better Vision Pro, something that we can use and make humanity
Yeah,
better. But instead
invest.
of that, we just
Yeah,
short-term
you're saying
thinkings.
invest in growth and don't worry about
Yeah,
like a short-term bump in your earnings
exactly.
and
These
just
companies have a lot of cash. Meta
yeah.
doesn't need to lay people off. Google doesn't need to lay people off. They can just do more. But it's just I don't know. I don't know how this is going to snowball us because these layoffs will change the dynamics. But at the same time, we're going to have a lot of cash injection from SpaceX IPO. Housing prices in San Francisco will go crazy.
Yeah.
It's a scary, crazy. I mean, I'm always in this mode that, is this wrong or I'm just getting old and seeing what the real word is? But is the word crazy or it's always been like this? I just didn't realize it. So it's uh, it's a weird sensation these days.
I'll add this, which is a lot of this I think comes to culture. So I like to think of our society as a little bit of a pendulum. So when I was working at Meta, the pendulum was very much in the very woke side. I had the Meta campus was really nice. I had a 24-hour ice cream bar, like staffed, making sundaes for me. I had full booze. Like there's like bars everywhere. There's a nice barbecue place. There's I had 4 months of parental leave. When I first joined, I didn't have a job for 3 months. They just said, just talk to everyone and figure out what inspires you, right? Like there's time for you to do that. I was like, this is incredible. I'm not doing anything.
So
People are always
pre-COVID.
planning happy hours. Like there's offsites every 2 weeks in really nice places. So, and then I recently visited Meta again, a friend. This is a couple of weeks ago. That shit was locked down. No snacks, no booze. Like people who looked very worried all the time right there. And I was like, damn, like this culture has definitely shifted the other direction, where the pendulum, where people seem like to be in constant state of paranoia of like, I need to really work my ass off or I'm going to lose my highly lucrative job. Right. So I think actually, history kind of rhymes with like these pendulum swings back and forth. We might be at the extreme end where like, we are no longer valuing people as beautiful snowflakes of what they are into just like, you are a data point on my spreadsheet and like attaching to my bottom line. Like, I think we're there. But people have a way of swinging back. Right.
You,
So,
you heard
yeah.
that Meta's tracking every keystroke on their
Yeah.
laptops and
Oh yeah,
computers from
all
today.
that.
Yeah,
They're basically saying,
that's
I'm going to
crazy.
train us so that we can get rid of you, right? That's basically what
Yeah,
they're saying,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
and we're gonna
crazy.
monitor you everything you do.
But I mean,
It's
like,
not
how
it's
can
not,
you?
it's
You
not like
can't
that.
really blame them though, right? Because it's like, well, our competitors are like crushing it, like OpenAI, Anthropic, like there's a new guard, and
Yeah,
if we don't compete and if we don't keep up, we're gonna lose, and they're gonna take our job, like they're gonna take our lunch anyway, right?
yeah.
So it's kind of like
But then,
do or eat or beat. What is it? Do or die? I forgot what the
uh,
phrase is. Eat or
yeah,
beat.
but
Yeah, that's
laying off
right.
10,000 people isn't gonna move the needle for them anyway, right? I
No,
mean,
but
how
it's
big Meta
more the
is like
culture.
6,000 people. Yeah,
It's more like the
culture. Yeah,
culture
I
that,
agree.
yeah, it's like, okay,
Yeah,
we gotta all like hustle, guys. Like this is not snowflake time anymore. Like, no daycare. Like you gotta go
yeah,
grind it out, and like we
But
gotta build amazing stuff.
dude, like I think it's very different the outputs when like the primary fear is keeping your job versus actually staying ahead of the competition, right? Like keeping your job is just like I don't want to fuck things up here, right? And I actually do think that kind of closes you off from actually creating innovative things. If it's more paranoia around like competition, it's just like we have to win and beat as a team. That's when I think people take risks and get really creative here. So this feels like a vicious inward cycle for Meta, right? Like I don't think they're going to be innovating their way out of this. The way they're going to be producing innovation is probably buying companies,
Hmm.
harvesting them and bolting them on. I get that, but it's not going to come from inside. Versus like an Anthropic, I imagine the culture is quite different there. Like I think there's more of like a team vibe of like we are going to outclass the world on AI and like be the first to produce like AGI in the right way. And being first matters, I think, when it comes to AGI, especially. I have to imagine there's more smiling faces over there these days. Well, I sure as hell would be smiling if I were at Anthropic at any level. As a custodian washing the toilets, be like, I'm gonna be rich. Like, this is great, right? Buy the area house.
For what
Yeah,
it's worth, by the way, I heard that they work very, very hard as well.
But yeah,
We have a few people that join Anthropic from SoftBank, and they grind like really, really hard.
do they enjoy it?
I don't know if enjoy. I mean, they enjoy making a lot of money. I don't
they're
think.
enjoying it. So
Yeah, I guess they're enjoying that, but like from what I understand, they work extremely, extremely hard. Like the culture is very,
yeah.
very hard.
And whatever you say, Meta still makes $200 billion out of their ads. So it's one of the largest and best companies in the world. So
Yeah,
I thought you
it's
said I think you said ads, but I heard ass. Like they make $200 million out of their ass.
no ads. Yes. Either way, that's the same thing.
yeah.
That's true.
Feel that.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, boys.
And
Look, we
I sent you
go ahead,
one more
David.
article if you want to cover that. I don't know.
Let's
It's
talk about it. Yeah, sure. Why not?
the
So you said
podcast.
NVIDIA CEO
Jensen.
Jensen Huang faces heated debate over AI chip exports to
Yes.
China.
Yes, the
What?
Death podcast.
And he
Did you
lost his
watch it?
shit. Yeah, I watched it, and
Uh,
I made a carousel about it, and people love
yeah.
it. Um,
Sure, say
Eric, did
more.
you watch it?
Say more, Ian. What's the story about?
so it was a debate between this podcast guy and Jensen, and is exporting GPU to China is same as exporting uranium to North Korea or something. You're exporting the strategic um, weapon of our
Building blocks.
country
Yeah.
to our enemies. So, and Jensen was like, "That's a stupid analogy," and he lost his shit there. So it was fun.
It's interesting. You should watch it, Eric. It's quite entertaining. And it's a very famous podcast guy, Dwarkesh Patel. He
Oh
actually
yeah.
I saw him speak live at Entrepreneur First. They had like a demo day, and they invited him for the last one to speak. And but I think Jensen's point was basically, look, we are exporting the chips to China, but they're not getting like the top of the line stuff. And even if they were like getting the top of the line stuff, it's fine because what China has that we can't compete with is energy. We are just lacking, or we're like they. I guess the point is that they have the capability to supercharge, or I don't know exactly how it works, but because they have so much energy, they can still use the last generation of chips to train as if they had like the latest generation of chips
It's like a
because they
brute
have
Yeah.
so much.
force. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
the other
so,
point was,
yeah.
go ahead.
And so his point was like, look, this is a bit of a loser mentality of saying like, you're gonna punish us. Like also it's like he has to defend his company, right? Nvidia. It's like we need to be the best company that we can, and you're telling us to intentionally basically harm our own performance of not selling and not making money where we can by like just, playing a bit of a political game, right?
Yeah. And his argument was like, we gotta lock them in our ecosystem so they don't develop their own chips. So let them use NVIDIA chips, the Chinese guys, so that they just stay in this CUDA or whatever NVIDIA ecosystem is, and instead of building their own Huawei chips and build their own infrastructure. So
That
I don't
sounds
know.
weak.
What do you?
I mean, like China probably wants their own domestic chip quality to
Yeah.
be at the level of NVIDIA as well, right? I mean, they're not
Hmm.
gonna just like stop investing in that, right?
Yeah. And it was
Yeah.
just funny. I mean, and Jensen was claiming that 60% of what they have is imported by, I mean, they exported from the US, so they're still dependent to us. So that's a better leverage than letting them have their own ecosystem. But, what do you think?
I feel for Jensen. I feel like that is a little bit
Mm,
of an unfair question, actually. Like,
mm,
on the one hand, I'm not going to deny that there's a real rivalry between US and China, and I prefer US wins in this
mm,
AI race. But on the other hand, like, it's weird. Like, we're kind of like compressing our tech leaders into political leaders now, too. Some of them
mm.
are doing it by choice, by interceding themselves, like into politics, like the Peter Thiels and all that stuff, and Elon Musk's and so forth. But now it almost like falls on the shoulders of every tech CEO. Be like, where do you stand politically and blah blah blah, right? And I feel for them of just like, look, I just want to produce chips, right? I get the simplicity of that, but like, that's going to be a losing debate. Like someone's going to be pissed off,
Mm.
right? I was like, you're supplying the enemies, or it's just like, or like, I don't know, it's. I'll have to listen to it. I do have a lot of respect to Dorkish.
I feel like the way that Jensen should have just approached it was like, hey, we do what our government tells us is allowed that we're allowed to do with China,
Mm.
and we follow,
Yeah, that's
you
fair.
know, we follow the rules that, the guidelines that we've been given, and if things change, we'll consider and, adjust appropriately. I mean, that's it,
I
right?
think that that's a better response.
Like
Yeah.
it's like, President Trump has set the guidelines for what we can and can't do, and we're following them. Like, what else do you want
Yeah.
me to say?
You know what? I feel like these comms are so good, Kevin,
I
that
should go work in
Nvidia should
NVIDIA.
consider buying the Three Commas podcast as their new TVPN, and we could be
NVIDIA,
the mouthpiece
acquire.
of a major
NVIDIA,
chip
you have three
company.
commas. You should acquire another three commas. Yes,
Jensen, if you're out there, boy, like
Three
we're ready to
comments.
take your. We'll take it in stock. All right, I don't need
yes.
any
Yeah.
cash right now. Just give
We're
me
also
some. I'll even take
Asian.
like a.
Three Asian males, just like you.
Yeah.
We love fried chicken, eating fried chicken in Korea as
Oh,
well.
we love Koreans. We love the Taiwanese. Yeah, it's all that. I, I
Yeah.
I ate at Denny's too once, where you were a dishwasher earlier in your life. So yeah, it was a
Yeah,
bad, terrible meal.
yeah.
All right, guys. Cool way to wrap things up. Who said the Three Commas outro last time? Ian, was that you?
I think I did, but yeah.
I can
Okay,
do it.
We,
Kevin.
I'll
Kevin,
do it.
whatever. Yeah.
Very
Go, Kevin.
short. Well, as a reminder to everyone, all of this is not investment advice, so please consult and make your own financial decisions. Don't follow exactly what Ian's doing in the markets. Um, but from the three of us, it's the three commas. It's been fun hanging out with everyone every week and with my brothers, Ian and Eric. So we'll see you guys next week.
We gotta do this in person soon. Once you guys have your office too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have updates for you. I'll tell you offline in a minute.
All
See you
right.
soon, guys.
Awesome.
Safe travels.
All right.